Hello everyone and welcome to part 3 of this motorcycle maintenance series where we'll be discussing the differences between preventative and curative methods of motorcycle maintenance. So let's get started. So first things first, what are the differences between preventative and curative ways of maintenance and how do you know which one you are following? Well, the first difference is that a preventative method is a more schedule based method, whereas a curative is more of a problem based method. What I mean by that is in the curative method, you do your certain jobs on the motorcycle when a problem occurs. So, for example, if your brakes start to have an issue, that is when you go to the garage and have a look at the problem as to what is the issue. Whereas in the preventative method, you go to the garage and get whatever your brakes maintenance jobs are to be done, irrespective of whether you have a problem or not, based on a schedule. Another way that you can find out is by thinking about when you go to a service center or a garage or your mechanic, why are you going there? Are you going there just for general service and general checkups, or do you often go there to fix a problem? If you find that you are generally going there to fix problems on your motorcycle, you are probably following the curative method, unless you are a Royal Enfield rider. In that case, God bless you. So now that we figure out what are the differences between preventative and curative methods, let's see which is better and why. So let's take brakes for example, and let's say that there's a time where you have to change your brake fluid. Now, if you leave that and don't change your brake fluid change is generally very cheap, not very expensive. You can do it for about 500 rupees for a small motorcycle. But if you ignore that and if you let your brake fluid run, you may have a master cylinder kit failure, which means that will increase the cost. Now, you don't just have to replace your brake fluid, but you also have to replace and rebuild your master cylinder kit. Also, another thing to look at is increased wear. Because your brake fluid is old, your brake system is not working efficiently, which means you are using a lot more brake pad material and rotors to have the same braking impact. So you will be paying a lot more in terms of new brake pads over a period of time. Now, there are some people who will say, look, man, I don't care about the cost. I don't want the hassle of, maintaining and going through each and every job that is being done. That is fine. But what if I told you that since you have bought the motorcycle has never been in the perfect condition that it should be for you to enjoy the motorcycle and for it to be safe? Because most of the people who are watching this video, you don't ride your motorcycle because you have to. You ride the motorcycle because you want to, because you enjoy riding a motorcycle. So you should make sure that the condition is maintained in such a way that one, it gives you the maximum pleasure and it is safe enough for you to do so. Now I'm going to use this graph to explain what I mean by the fact that you are not riding your motorcycle in the best possible condition. So in this example, I will just use three parts, which is your engine oil, suspension fluid, and brake fluid. Okay. The x-axis on this graph is the age of the vehicle or kilometers of the vehicle. Y-axis is the health of those parts. In this, the brake fluids, suspension fluid, and engine oil. The green line is the maximum health, which means brand new engine oil or brand new fluids. Red line being the minimum acceptable quality of the fluid. Below that, your fluids stop working as they should, and when you reach the bottom, they will eventually lead to a breakdown. Riders tend to change their engine oil on time. They're very concerned about that. So you have your first kilometer starting, your engine oil quality goes down to the point where it needs to be changed. Riders change it, and then you have fresh engine oil which goes down again. Then you change it again, another service, and then it goes down. That is what the cycle that generally engine oil follows. Now, on this, we will plot something like your fork fluid. So your fork fluid, generally riders don't change it, or it goes down something like that, stays down in the red zone till something breaks. When something breaks, then they, for example, your oil seal breaks. So you change your oil seal, change your fluid, and then continue that cycle. On the same graph, when we plot something like your brake fluid, so when we plot your brake fluid, it follows a similar sort of pattern, stays there, stays there, stays there till something breaks, and then you get it replaced again. Now, on this graph, what I want you to focus on is this section. In this section, after a certain point of time, when you have covered, let's say, about 15 or 20 or 25,000 kilometers, every time you go out on your motorcycle, you have at least one part which is not in its optimum state. And keep in mind, this is only considering three replaceable parts. In this, I can add coolant, I can add tires, I can add battery, I can add a ton of other things. And then I can be absolute sure that every time you are going out to ride your motorcycle, if you follow the curative method, at least one part on your motorcycle is not in the condition that it should be for you to be safe out there. Now, a lot of you will ask this question that, okay, we understand preventative maintenance is better, but how do we make sure that we are maintaining our motorcycle preventatively? So this is where we come to the part where you can just sit at home and do something to help you maintain your motorcycle better. What I do for my motorcycle is I maintain a spreadsheet which contains details of all the jobs that can be done on a motorcycle. So the columns that I have is, I'll give you an example with engine oil, for example. So the column that I have, the first column is the job, which is what needs to be done. So for example, I need to change my engine oil. Okay, when was that done the last time? Let's say it was done at some X date. At what kilometers? Let's say it was done at 30,000 kilometers, right? The details of that job. So in this, you can put in things like what oil did you use, or what viscosity did you use, and so on and so forth. And according to you, the last one will be according to you, when is the next due date? Why I say according to you is because generally service manuals are given for the entire of the world, and the frequencies that they have can change. So my service manual says to change engine oil at 10,000 kilometers. I don't wait till 10,000 kilometers. I change it much sooner at, let's say, 7,000 kilometers. So my next due date will be at 37,000 kilometers or at certain interval from the date. Now, this section of the spreadsheet will increase with all the things that we talked about in part one, in part two, and that we will talk about in part four, five, six, and so on. Really, a very good benefit of having a spreadsheet like this is when you go to sell your motorcycle. So when you go to sell your motorcycle and a buyer is concerned, every buyer is concerned about the condition of a motorcycle it is in. So if you can present them with a spreadsheet which details meticulously each and everything that has been done on the motorcycle, the buyer can be assured that it's in a good condition and you can definitely get a much better price. Unless you happen to make a spreadsheet, save it on a laptop with all the meticulous details, and then someone decides to break into your house, steal the laptop along with all the data in it, unless you are that unlucky for that to happen to you, I can guarantee you will get a much better cost for your motorcycle. Thank you very much for watching. That's been part three. If you have any other suggestions for me to make videos on, you can DM me on Instagram, or if you have your specific ways where you maintain your motorcycle in a preventative way, you can drop them in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.